Hello, my name is Jack Stanley, and I'm the co-founder of the Tech Academy. I'd like to welcome you to the Tech Academy podcast. The Tech Academy operates a 15-week software developer bootcamp. You can find out more at our website, learncodinganywhere.com.
Our guest today is Hannah Patterson. This is super exciting. Hannah's been with us for a bit over a year and has rapidly become an integral, vital part of the company. So this is an in-house interview, if you will. She has just really taken charge of an incredibly important area we have with a partnership with a university. We'll talk about that. And I think you'll enjoy getting to know her.
All right.
Did you have any idea you'd be working for a tech company? At all?
No. I think if you would have told me a week before I met Jack Stanley, I would have been like, no. What is software development and why would I work there? Yeah.
So, how you like it?
I love it. It is none of the things I expected. I think that I had a very... For someone who prides myself on not having stereotypes, I had a very stereotypical view of what software development and the tech industry in general would look like as far as who I'd be working with and whether or not I would click with those personalities. Having a background in performing arts, I'm used to people who are extremely outgoing and want desperately to be the center of attention. And I've always thought that I associate more with that type of person. Whether I am one or not, I'll let you be the judge. But,
I've already judged.
Okay, good. But I've thought of, not that I think I am in any way shy, but that it's harder for me to be outgoing around shy people. And I think that maybe that was something that I thought about the tech industry would be hard for me, is that it was in my head going to be a bunch of really, really shy people and I wouldn't know how to associate with them. And this group, this Tech Academy team, it's a bunch of goofballs who think a lot like me. And it's funny because I think a lot of the reasons that I've loved performing arts and storytelling are the same things that I love about working here, in that it's about betterment. It's about people associating with other people. And that's, I mean, theater specifically. I like that it's storytelling and it's immediate and it's interacting with other people on a really human level. And before I started here, I would have said technology seemed like the opposite to me.
Very dry, impersonal, inhuman kind of thing.
And really,
no, that's
it's
just
the
me.
same thing. Yeah, it's just very gross. But really, it's the same as theater. It's people relating to other people. Software development, like what tools do people need? How can we improve the lives of people and improve how they relate to other people? Which... Yeah,
that isn't what you would have expected.
No, it's very like full circle for me in a way that I not only would I have not predicted, I would have predicted the opposite.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, that's been really, really cool.
Yeah. Did you grow up with like computers in the house or technology or that kind of stuff? Was it, other than just consuming them and using them, was anybody in your house like an enthusiast about electronics or computers or anything like that?
I think that we were users of technology without any question of how or why things did what they did. My brothers, I have 3 older brothers, and so they played video games, and it's funny because to this day, I love watching people play video games. I do not like playing them, but really that's because that's what I was allowed to do. Like, Hannah, you can't play, you're going to screw it up.
Really?
But you can watch us play.
Oh, wow.
So
that's mighty big of them.
Yeah. They're sweet. No, they're really good guys. But so they played video games, and I mean, even by the time I was in middle school, MySpace was a thing, and I think I was late to MySpace, and then I was late to Facebook, and sort of that like the theater, like archaic, let's sit around a fire and tell stories, like that's kind of how I thought I was wired. So I
wait, is there an app for that?
Yeah, no, there's not.
There's no...
I putting computers into my day-to-day life and how I related to people is something I was almost opposed to.
Oh,
but,
interesting.
I mean, I use Facebook. I'm a user of social media. I get news from the internet and those kinds of things. But before working here, that was it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. We changed your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Good.
In a super unexpected way.
That's very, very cool. So you've been I haven't even asked you about this. Like, what's actually been like to be Professor Hannah Patterson for Concordia? Like, the interaction with the students and everything. I know most of it is just over email, most of it, right?
Yeah.
What's it like?
Yeah, it's an online class, so almost all of it is just through email and through like the online form, through the Tech Academy's learning management system, is how students submit assignments and how I typically respond to them. Receiving emails that say Professor Patterson was and is weird.
That's awesome. Tell me you didn't forward one of those to your mom. Hey.
Yeah, screenshot those and send them right over.
Sit down for things.
Refer to me as
Exactly.
Professor Patterson.
Sit down at Thanksgiving. I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
It was this last summer at a family reunion because the Concordia semester starts in August.
Oh yeah.
And so telling people like, yeah, I will be teaching this software development class, and just watching my family like give me blank stares.
That's awesome.
They would have never expected me in that realm at all.
Yeah.
It's been great though. The students first semester were wonderful. I had a lot of positive feedback. It was nice when they finally came to me with questions.
Mm-hmm.
And this semester we're only in the first week now, and it's already very different. Students are always different, and I've been around. I mean, I grew up in a traditional education system, but I've been around education my whole life, and been around educators my whole life, family members, and my best friend's a first grade teacher, and the idea that every group of students is different is something I've heard, but even just in a second semester of teaching an online class, it is a completely different group of students. And they have different needs for me as their instructor. So I'm excited to see that progress in future years and how different students need different things. And even with the exact same curriculum laid out in the exact same format, what they want and need is different. I'm sure that's true of our students as well, but yeah.
That's part of the thing I was excited about with you doing this is that you have the college background that I don't. I've got a lot of education, but it's, military is a whole different animal, and I knew that you would have an understanding of what they were going through, what the life, like everything outside of that time when they're interacting with you, you would understand that a lot better than I would.
Yeah, it was something that when this idea of doing this was first presented to me, that's a lot of the conversations that you and Jack and I had were around, okay, well, what do we do differently than traditional universities? What are things that they do really, really well? And what are things that we do well that we can implement even though they're not normal for them?
Yeah.
And that was just a fun conversation to be a part of because so much of what we do is very different and almost the opposite in terms of having a self-paced program. Growing up in traditional education, no, you learn at the same speed as the kid next to you. I don't care if you got it 10 days ago and he doesn't get it yet, or I don't care if you're not tracking and we're moving forward. So that shift in how we can make the two work together, and it's something that I'm thankful Concordia has let us do with them, and given us a lot of liberties and like this is how our semester is structured, but we trust you guys to do what you do because you do a great job of it.
Yeah, I've really appreciated that for that too, and just the willingness to think, just the cliche of it. If you're playing, business catchphrase bingo, here it comes. Thinking outside the box. They really like a highly unusual
Innovative.
thing. Yeah, there we go.
Use
Yes,
that one too.
exactly. No, but when they first floated the idea, for example, of a hybrid degree that would combine the best of what we can do in intensive training and what they do in the academic, I went, that's the kind of degree I would want.
Right.
As a professional in the technology industry, if I could roll back and learn that way, even though it doesn't exist yet. We're making it,
Right.
you know? Like, oh, man, that's the way to do it. Because
Right.
you'd have a really, really strong tech, you know, like theory background, but you could actually do the job. I don't know if I ever told you this. I met a guy about 2 years ago who at that point had been formally studying computers for about 7 years, because 4 years of high school, and then he was into his third year of college.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, oh, cool. So, like, you know, which database management software do you use? And I got that. I got, like, you just staring at me, like, I mean, like a
Silence,
deer in the
blank
headlights.
stare over the
Like,
head. Yeah.
Yeah, they really haven't taught us anything about databases.
Right.
I'm like, how's your computer program that you're making going to persist any data, store anything? How's it going to be useful to a business? And these were foreign now, that's one guy's experience in one program.
Right.
But, yeah. Anyway, that hybrid thing really gets me excited.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you about another thing that you said, though. This concept of, like, not that you're a Luddite by any means, you know, but like that technology and, like, embracing it or having it be an integral part of one's life and everything. You said something kind of unique about that. What was your point of view before coming here?
I think I was a little bit resistant. I mean, not in the way of, you know, my grandparents' generation of, you know, why do I need a cell phone that can do all of those things?
I want to do all my math on an abacus, you know?
Right. I'm contemporary. I was, you know, like I've used it as much as I've needed to get by in my life, but because I personally am so interested in face-to-face communication,
Mm-hmm.
in looking someone in the eye and having a real conversation, it's a balance.
Yeah.
And, you know, the stereotypical gamer who can't have a conversation eats Funyuns, as you always say, and lives in his parents' basement till he's 40. Like, that to me is what technology could do to someone. Like,
Right.
like a shut-in mentality. And
Yeah.
it just seems so, the concept in my head of that seems so lonely.
Oh, yeah.
And storytelling, theater, like the personal relationship aspect to me is what makes people feel less alone
Mm-hmm.
in a world that is fast paced, in you know, the American culture that we're moving forward. What's the next task? And I like the goal orientedness of that, but I love the personal conversation relating to another human on like a spiritual level.
Mm-hmm.
Even that is what I think society is also hungry for.
It is.
And that is necessary as we make these technological advances.
Yeah.
Culturally, to not lose sight of that and to have a lot of both.
You're absolutely
to get better
right.
at both.
You're absolutely right.
Culturally.
I was talking with a friend of mine the other day about this whole move to, for example, autonomous driving, or, you know, it started with, you know, driving assistance, you know, they'll alert you to the
Mm-hmm.
fact that you're coming up too quickly on the car ahead of you. And
Yeah.
I look at that and the balance between safety and not encouraging the person to be comfortable and aware of their own environment and doing what they're doing while they're doing it and not doing anything else. You know, I don't believe that a machine is ever going to be a substitute for an actual person.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not to say technology isn't unbelievably valuable, but how do we accomplish keeping them both alive in people? And so I like what you bring, you know, to the group in that regard, in terms of the fact that above all, live communication is senior to everything.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
I might be the only person who loves meetings.
That's awesome.
There's always the like, oh, I survived another meeting that could have been an email. There's like
Yes,
that meme,
yes.
and I'm like, I survived another email that could have been a meeting. Like, this person could have just walked down the hall and said this to my face.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's definitely a balance there. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question now that you're in the industry and have been for a little while. You know, like, where do you, how much of an impact, or what kind of an impact do you think you see technology having, say, 5 or 10 years from now? Like, do you see this, like the concepts of, like, for example, wearables or, embedded computers on bodies and that kind of stuff? Do you see stuff like that happening, and how do you feel about it? Like, because you're now more aware of, like, the technology industry and some of the things that are happening in it.
I mean, I think any of that could happen. And that doesn't scare me anymore.
Oh.
Before I was in the industry, I would have said, yeah, anything could happen. I mean, if you would have told society 50 years ago what my iPhone could do today,
Oh, yeah.
you would have had so many people tell you there's no way any of that will ever happen. And so knowing what the unthinkables to me that could happen 50 years from now in my lifetime, things that could happen that right now, if you described them to me, I would say there's no way that thing will ever happen or exist, is almost scary.
Yeah.
Like, the world is as we know it, and I like it this way. And so things that I don't know or understand or can even conceive of that are going to happen in my lifetime inevitably, it doesn't scare me anymore. And it's because I now understand that computers cannot think. I would have maybe rationally, before working here, if you would have said, Hannah, can computers think? I would have said, well, no. But why, when I ask Alexa or Siri a question, how is everything I can think of something that the computer can think of?
Yes.
But the computer's not thinking of it. Everything I'm thinking of was thought of by a developer who put that there.
Yeah.
And the other thing that reminded me of, that I've had this conversation probably almost once a month since I started here, is when people talk about, all these jobs are becoming automated. And, soon there's not, we don't need cashiers at the grocery store, and all of these things.
And Wendy's is going to replace their,
right.
Or
so
Jack in the Box
what are we
going to
do? There's not jobs for these people. And I'm like, yeah, guess what? There's a job for a developer who creates the machine, organizes it to do that task. And then there's other people that are developers who are maintaining it.
Yeah.
So rather than the cashier, there's now 3 higher paying jobs to make that thing work.
Yeah.
In one capacity or another. And that's something that I mean, because it cracks me up now, knowing all that I know, when people say, well, do you think that, software development's going to die off? Do you think, is a boot camp really a good idea? Are there going to be jobs for me in the future? Yeah, there's going to be 15 jobs for you. So get your friends on board too. Like,
exactly.
The concept that we're, the technology is going to be too advanced. And I'm like, no, the humans are making the technology do those things. So we need more people culturally. We need a shift towards more people in those kinds of jobs.
Yeah.
And it's something that we talk about as a school, is we cannot graduate enough developers to fulfill the need.
Not even close.
We'd love to.
Yeah.
But we will never fill the need. It's that great.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that when I sat down and designed the school. I did not know the demand was that strong.
Yeah.
And I remember it was a few weeks in, I went, well, how would I get statistics on what this looks like? And I found some, I think, Bureau of Labor and Industry online. And I'm reading it, and I'm like, I actually couldn't experience it at first. Because at that point, spring of 2013 or whatever, it was that 7 years from now, 2020, which is rapidly approaching.
Really close.
I know, right?
It's the future.
It's projected we'll need 1.4 million more technology workers. And the available output from the universities, because boot camps weren't even a thing at that point. They weren't factored into anybody's thinking. The available output of the nation's universities is 40,000 a year. 7 years. Doing it, we're upside down by 1.1 million jobs. I went, I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be fine.
And I mean, in a way, that's scaling what you were doing. You needed more junior developers for yourself, so you started training them.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't
The
know
demand
that
was there.
Like a global.
No, didn't know that at all.
You just know you needed.
Exactly. Although our friends in India are feeling the fact that there are shifts up and down. It is a different nation. I don't know if you heard, but they 6% of the technology workforce in India has been laid off over the last 6 to 10 months. There's going to be shifts, but I know in America and in Canada, because we're working on a partnership with a Canadian company, the demand is just incredible. It's absolutely incredible. By the way, one of the coolest things I think about what you just said, besides the fact that it was insightful and fun to listen to, is that you said both Siri and Alexa in it, as I just did. So anybody who's listening to the podcast with a speaker and has an iPhone
their phone's trying to answer
or Alexa
questions and is hopefully just recording everything. Hey Siri.
Exactly.
Hey Siri.
Hey Alexa, buy Whole Foods. That was one of my favorite jokes of the last 6 months. Oh man, awesome. Well, thank you for sitting down with me. I appreciate it. Obviously, we get to talk every day, but we don't get to talk in this manner. And I think our listeners should know you'll get a chance to do so now.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
And again, if you are interested in enrolling in our Software Developer Bootcamp, please visit our website, learncodinganywhere.com.